Hello there. Okay, this is Tech Talk Tuesday. And normally these Tech Talks are an open forum for questions or interactions through the chat room or through a Skype call if you want to do that. On Tech Tuesdays, today we have a special request by Christian Edward Dahlberg, who wanted to see me work with the Flam section of the Sick Control book. So I decided to do that this week. So this is going to be a master class on Flams, and specifically the Sick Control book section, 60 Flam section of the Sick Control book. But I want to welcome everybody to this forum, and every Tuesday I'm going to try to do some sort of a master class instead of just a regular take questions or do my daily routine. So before we begin with the Stick Control book, let's talk about Flams in general. I just want to talk about Flams and give you some observations about what I see happening. There's a couple of ways to play Flams that I see. I can break them. I break them down into three categories, and it's pretty simple. The first category is a one-level Flam. And what is that? We call that flat Flams. Those are flat Flams. They're used generally, and we play two surfaces at a time with the same rhythm. We do that a lot on the drums. We don't do that too much on a drum pad or a snare drum. But that's a Flam. It's two strokes in one. It's not a rudimental Flam. Now you get into the rudimental Flams. Now we get into another category of Flams altogether. You get a multi-level Flams where you have two levels going on. So if you separate the levels and throw them at the same time, they're automatically going to have a slight delay between the lower note and the higher note. And of course, the more distance I make, the wider that is going to become. And I can close it down. And on the other hand, I can raise the tap higher. I get a very loud secondary note. I can bring the secondary. So we can do a lot of things. We can raise the height of the primary. We can raise and lower the height of the secondary. But the idea is to have two separate sounds. So that's a two-level Flam. And that's what I see most happening, mostly. Now, with the two-level Flam, when I see people doing I see them picking up the primary stroke in order to make the difference between the what we call the grace note stroke and the primary stroke. Okay. So really, it's not technically it's not a Flam; it's an accented Flam. And that's the problem I have with this. Is that they're all accents. And this is an accented exercise. And that's an accent exercise with the flam, but flams don't have accents. Normally, you can add an accent to them. So I have 3 sounds here going. Not 3, that's a 3-level system. Which is your tap and your quarter and your full. And the purposes are, I've said this a couple of times, purposes are the full for accentuation and the tap for normal playing. And the quarter stroke is for your grace notes. It's your grace note levels, your flams and your drags. Go down here. So I see a lot of field drummers, they tell you that you have to keep your sticks down low. And they get this really loud pop because they're so low and they got to bring the sticks up. You know, but you know, you can have flams don't have accents, and you can add an accent to it. It's like a paradiddle. That's a paradiddle. That's an accented paradiddle. It's different. So what I'm talking about here is George Stone. He uses a 3-level system, and that's the purpose of the 3 levels. So and the difference in philosophy, and here's the basic difference. You don't even have to do the book. Don't even have to do the book. Hey, Ron. Ron DeAngelis is in the chat room. Says hi. Don't even have to do the book. So when I see, aside from flat flams, when I see level flams, I'm seeing going up for the flam, but that's not what you do. You go up for an accent. That's what George does. When you want a grace note, you go down for the grace note. It's not a louder note; it's a softer note. The grace note is softer. If you do it this way, there's no difference between the grace note and the taps. The difference is you're putting an accent on top of the tap. Whereas this way, I'm going down. Right? So playing the graces, the grace notes here, playing the taps here, and if I want to, I can add an accent. So the direction is different, right? And also it's the hand that changes is different as well. Okay, when I want to play a grace note, my setup is to go down on the grace note hand, not to go up on the primary note hand. That's how I go up for an accent on the right hand flam. But if I want to play a right hand flam, I go down on the left hand. So if I want to play an accented flam, there's 2 moves. I got to go up and I got to go down. And then there's 2 moves back. There's an upstroke and a downstroke back to the center. Right, watch that. Here's the accent. Set up for the accent, set up for the grace note. Grace note and flam back to playing level. I'm playing with an accent. And you can tell that by looking at the level. you can see two levels. You don't see a high level and a low level. You see a normal level and a low level underneath it, and you will see a third level if there's an accent. If you play around, my favorite example of the issue in playing flams this way is the Phlegm Paradiddle. Look, the accent is on the E, or E end up. So if I play a flam with an accent, I'm getting. I don't want that. I want. And you got to go from a. That's what makes the Phlegm Paradiddle so hard. You got to go from a quarter stroke to a full stroke for the accent. You're going from here. You can definitely hear those three sounds. So. So that's how I see flams. And like I said, there's more than one way to approach flams. And I'm not saying flat flams are wrong. I'm not saying that two-level flams are wrong. What I'm saying to you is that if you're going to do stick control, and you're going to do the flam section of stick control, and you want to do it the way George meant, he created this system of levels. And the purpose of the levels is to play flams from a quarter stroke level. And it's all relative. I mean, the faster you go, everything gets compressed anyway. You can't go as high, so you have to bring your level down, and you have to relatively adjust your levels. Your three levels, your grace note level, and your tap level, and your accent level, is a relative position. Depending on and that relative position is driven by the overall dynamic that you're playing. If you're going to play a loud dynamic, then you want a loud accent, and you want a good tap, and you want a nice quarter. You want to play at your full level. If you want to play soft, and you're still playing accented flams, you can articulate all of that, but you have to be able to adjust your levels relatively. And so that they stay clean. And the faster you go, the harder it is to do that, because the closer they get together. It's like the violin when you're playing, when you're playing a bass fiddle. It's easy to stay in tune. You got large spaces between where the frets are supposed to be. When a violin, the spaces get a lot closer together. It's much harder to stay in tune. It's the same thing that happens when we play faster. It's the same idea. When we play faster, everything gets compressed. It gets much harder to articulate, cleanly. So the levels become even more important. That you work on them slowly, so when you speed them up, you can maintain them. All right, so let's look at what George did with the flams, and how do we understand that there are different kinds of flams. There are different kinds of approaches to playing flams, and George has a very specific approach to flams, which is not what I normally see being taught or being used. And this is going to be about the stick control book, so I'm going to do it George's way. I'm going to show you George's way of doing it. But first I want to give you his approach to the material, okay? I'll talk about how he approaches things. And it's very similar. I'm gonna, we could start with page 5. I want to talk about this. First of all, I'm gonna discuss page 5 before I get to the flams at all. And I want you to take note of his methodology. Would you take a look at 5? I don't know if you ever heard anybody discuss this, but there's a primary set of exercises that he sets up right in the beginning. The most primary are the single stroke and the double stroke. That's what he sets up in the beginning, and that requires the paradiddle after that, and then all the inversions of the paradiddle after that, and then he goes on to 3 on each hand and inverts that one, and then he goes on to 4 on each hand, and you're at 13. And I call those the 13 primary. The rest of the book is based on these 13 exercises, the entire book. Not all of them, some of them are not. He leaves out some of them here and there, I guess for spacing reasons, because he must have negotiated something with the publisher about the 12. The 12 lines per page or whatever it is. But these 13 exercises are very primary. If you look at 14, at that point he begins to apply one exercise against the other methodically in a very regimented, organized fashion. So 14 is a construction of 1 and 3. The first quad of 1 and the second and the second quad is 3. And then he reverses that, and then it's 2 and 4 on the next one. And the third one, he hits the paradiddle, which is what comes after 4 is 5, and you got 1 against 5 is the paradiddle now, a triple paradiddle, right? And then the next one is 1 against 6, and 1 against 7, then 1 against 8. And one against 9, and then one, and all the way down 28 is 1 against 13. So he's gone through the whole sequence now. He's gone through all of the 1s against the other 12, and then he starts with the 2s. 2 against 5, 3 against it's 2 against 5 and 3 against 5, 4 against 5, which is hand to hand now. And so on and so on. And he does this for 7. He creates 72 more exercises. Well, not more. Altogether, there's 72 exercises that are driven by these original 13. All of them are combinations, some sort of combinations of the first 13. And you can go on and on and on. You can make, hundreds more. But they get redundant. This is organized in a rudimental way, so it applies to what we do on a drum set very, very quickly, easily. So that's his methodology. He takes a basic foundation structure, and then he methodically goes through that structure with as many combinations as he can generate that makes sense from an organized, rudimental standpoint. So what does this have to do with flams? Okay, well, let's take a look at the first flam page, and see what I'm talking about. What's the similarity here in his approach? I think the first flam page is 10, 11, and 12. 13 would be the first one. Let's see if I'm right. No, it's not. I'm not counting right. That's just the page after this. It's 14. So 14 will start the flam section proper. No. 15. We're a page away. Is it this one? No. 15. Maybe it's got to be 16 then. There we go, 16. All right, so take a look at this page. First of all, take a look that he's got a double line written in. He's explicitly separating the first 18 exercises from the rest. He didn't do that on the first page. Although I could draw a double line after the first 13, just like this. Because this is the same methodology. He sets up 18 instead of 13 now. He's using 18 basic flam patterns that are the basis of the rest of the stuff. And the rest of the patterns are really just combinations of these first 18. In the same way that he took the 13 and made 72, he made 182 combinations because he's got more foundational patterns to work with. He's got Instead of 13, he's got 18. That's 5 more. So he was able to generate 182 Flam patterns from the basic 18. Same approach. That's what he did. So to me, this is a lot of material. 182 Flam patterns is a lot of material to learn. So you can't be daunted by the amount of material, because it's really simple. It's really basically just 18 combinations that you need to learn, and then you start learning how to use multiples of them, just like you did with the first 5 pages. The first 3 pages of stick controllers, the first thing you had to do is learn the first column. And once you learn the first column, then the rest of them make sense, and there's a path. And it's the same thing here. So the path is to learn these 18. Don't bother with the rest of it. First, get these 18 down. Work on these 18. Work on the first 2 or the first 4 and get them down. Then keep adding until you get these 18 down. And thank you, Ron. Yeah. Ron's letting me know I'm on the right page. So if you could do these 18, then the rest of the book should be available to you. The rest of the Flam section should be available to you if you want to spend the time to go through 182 Flam combinations. But if you could do these 18, you could pretty much do whatever you want. So how does this, so the other thing I want to point out to you is that I don't see any accents written here. Now, stick control, you have to understand, is written. It's a non-accented book. There's no accent routines at all. None. 0. Not one accent in the whole book. The book is designed to develop the free stroke. And there's no level exercises either. But the only level exercise in the entire book is the Flam section. And it's not even an accent level exercise. It's a Flam level exercise, which is the reverse of an accent. It's the reverse hand, the opposite. The accent would happen on the primary hand, and the primary hand would be moving up, and the Flam would be happen on the secondary hand, and the secondary hand would be moving down to prepare. So we don't want to learn with the accent. We want to learn without the accent first. We don't even want to deal with 2 levels. That's normally what people do anyway. So it makes most sense to deal with 2 levels. So we eliminate the accent level and we learn it this way. And then we can add the accent level on top of this. And then we have the ability to accent and non-accent. But if we learn to do it only with an accent, without the 3rd level, then we'll never have the clarity between playing accents and not playing accents with Flams. But without Flams, everything should be a choice. Everything we do should be a conscious choice. We should choose to do it. We shouldn't do it because that's how we learned it. We choose to do it because we choose to do it. So, how does this apply now? Let's take a look at the first pattern, so you can see how this applies. Without the Flam, just the rhythm is very simple. And there's a lot of ways he does that, okay? There's a lot of stickers he uses for that particular rhythm. The rhythm, without the Flam, I'm going to just use the primary note so you can see the sticking. What the sticking looks like is this. So what you're hearing is just the taps. Okay? Normally, when I hear people do this, I hear this. Yeah, and there's a Flam in there. But it's not that. That's your tap level. So you have to maintain this tap level. Then the tap you add another stroke. You got to come down and hit the tap and come back up. So if you look at my right hand, I'm really just doing a vamp with my right hand. It doesn't change. You don't see an accent here. That's left-handed. That's the second one. So here's number one. It's really, it's and then the second one is the opposite. Yeah. So what I'm doing is my right hand is all free. Left hand, down, up, down, up, down, up. You hear the different sounds? Same thing on the other side. Okay, so that's number 1 and 2, which is this. But without the accent, with the grace note. And number 3, he alternates it. It's very hard to get at this speed. The levels are really hard to hit perfectly. But the concept, if you maintain the concept that you're going down for the flam, for the grace note, if you maintain that concept so you don't go up and get louder, you want to get softer. Okay, so that's as opposed to that would be with the accent. Okay, so number 4, now he's changing the sticking. Now it's this kind of sticking. So let's put the flam in. With accents, without accents. Now, that was number 4. Then he starts doing it with one hand. This is really where it gets interesting. Now he gives you this sticking. Number 5, is it? Yeah. Really. So this is what your right hand should look like. It should not change. And this is what your sound should be on your right hand. Number 6, same thing, except left hand. And then he gets weird. He gets it inverted. Because now when I was working. Is really what the sticking is. You take a look at it. It's the primary right into. So what's happening is that normally you're sticking for this pattern. Let's say number 4 is the normal way. I'm leading left into that, whereas this way I'm leading right into that. I'm reversing the leads. Right. So here's number 4. Which is this, right? And then here's this one, which is the inversion of that. See? Inversion, right? Straight, inversion. I'm sorry. It's the two different versions, up, straight, and then inverted. Just like when you invert the it's like that kind of thing. And then he gets away from this pattern. And he gets into a straight. Now you're into straight 16th notes. And again, this is what straight 16th notes looks like in 3-stroke style. So again, your right hand should be doing that, and your left hand should be making the adjustments, going up and down for the grace note. Right in the reverse of that. Okay. And then finally we get to the Phlegm Paradiddle, which is not this. It's, remember, this is your paradiddle. Here's your accented paradiddle. There's no accent, and this is with a flair. It's with the accent, but without the accent. And then number 11 is your Flam tap. And it should look like this. That's the sticking, right? Not. Okay. And then after the Flam tap, we get to 13. Now 13. So he did it this way. this single stroke right hand, and then he's giving it to you this way. So this is like the third inversion paradiddle. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the first. Here's the paradiddle. First inversion. Second inversion. Third inversion. Now, with no flams, you'll see that's the inversion he's using. And then he's giving you the flam, a right hand flam into a left hand flam. Sorry. You have to do these every day if you really want to do them that fast, that clean. Okay. So that's the third inversion paradiddle with the flam on it. Then he does the second inversion. Well, actually, no. This is a straight mama daddy. Or this is half a flam tap. Only the flam tap only on the right side. And then he reverses that, and it's the flam tap on the left side. Yeah. And then he does it hand to hand. Right, half a flam tap, and then the reverse half a flam tap. And it kind of winds up like this. And then here we go, first inversion. And he puts a flam on it. Right and left hand flam on top of the first inversion of the paradiddle. Then here's number 13. And that's it. That's the 18 right there. So here it is. Sorry. All right, so let me play it slowly. I'll do all 18 of them in a row. I'll repeat each one, and we'll play now to slide that so you can see and hear what they sound like and look at what they look like. Right? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. What was it? Here's number 3. Yeah. Here's the number 7. Alright, I was really making the flams very wide and slow so you can... A Christian, there you are. So does that does that make it obvious what's happening now? No. And the rest of it's the same kind of stuff. It's 20, yeah, so I'll do 19, 20, 21, 22. I got a line, so I can't tell what that line is. So that's a flam. Okay. You notice they all sound the same, just like the first the first 3 pages sound the same. It's the same thing with the flams. They all should sound the same. And you go on and do another 182. I mean, you could see that once I get the 18, I can sight read the rest of them. But I need to get the first 18. I need to be able to do the first 18 like I could do page 5. The first 13. You know, and then once I get the 18 down, then the rest of the 182 is a breeze. You know, it's 1 against 2, 1 against 3, 1 against 4. and watch it. It continues. He's just like what he did in 5, 6, and 7. I'll give you the next page. You can see the continuation of the pattern that I'm talking about. 17 would be the next page. All right, so 17. See? All right, this is number 1. This is all the number 1s, and then here's the number 2s. All the number 2s. And then he starts to do it, yes. So here's the setup. So you're doing this one first. So you do that one against the other 17, right? Then he does this one. Is that what he does now? He's doing this one. Right? And then he's doing this one. And he goes through the other combinations, just the way he did 5, 6, and 7. And this is 48, and on and on, same stuff. That's 48. It's easy. But you got to do the 18. You got to spend a lot of time with those 18 basic ones, and also you got to make sure all your chaps are the same level, especially when you don't want to see no molar. Yeah, getting that downstroke on that fast is really hard to get down and under. But that's the idea. So it's like, so for accents we go up, and we go up on the primary hand for the primary. Madam McHugh, we're going up on the secondary hand. We're going up on the flam. So the right hand looks like this. Alright? Get the idea. I don't want to keep going over and over it, but basically it's up for an accent, down for a grace note. That's stone. That's why he has 3 levels. He has 3 levels. The high level for an accent, the middle level for tapping, and the low level for grace notes. And we're talking about roughs too. Even that drags. That's drags. And even your roughs, like your 4-stroke. You gotta use your levels. Alright. I'm just saying this stuff. What's this? Ron, 3 occasions from Alan's birthday. On a flat accent, I hope. One, primary note is not accented, yes. It's a free stroke and never changes in volume. That's right. Unless it's written that way. But I'm talking about stick control. I'm talking about the way Stone wrote it. He didn't write any accents in, right? Two, diddles are down up. Take away the flam and you determine which movement is applied from 5 to 7. That's right. You take away the flams and you'll see the stickings. And you see how they relate to the first section of the book. He's using the same methodology. You know, same thing with accents and rebounds. He took the same methodology and applied it to accents. And Joe did the same thing with Masters 2. I just did the master class on Master Studies 2 with Sam Rottenberg, and the thing he kept on harping on was that they're all based on the first page of stick control. All the entire Master Studies 2 underlying is driven by the stick control patterns, which is an extension of what George was doing. He did it going into eighth notes, and he did it applying them to rolls. And he did it applying it to flams, and then he did it applying it to accents. And then Joe just continued in that school, in that form, and using the organization of the first page of stick control. When you got 4 gigantic books based on 13 exercises that he wrote. Stick control, it's all based on the 13. Accents, based on the 13. Master Studies, based on the 13. So I think it's really important to understand how Stone's mind worked. These are not just exercises you learn and do. There's an underlying philosophy and strategy and discipline that he embedded into how he constructed the patterns, the order that they go in. It makes it extremely efficient to turn your work into progress using such a smart approach. And if you understand the approach, then the book gets easy. Then it takes away a lot of the mystery about, how do you get around a drum set? Well, this is how you get around a drum set with stick control. I'm going to stop. You're welcome, Ron. Ron thanks me, and he thinks this is great. I hope everybody else does too. And I'm not telling anybody that this is the way they have to play flams. It's not the object here. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to play flams and to approach them. The object here was just to present how Mr. Stone uses his invention, his 3-level system, to play dynamics. He uses them to play accents. He uses them to play grace notes. And if you're going to do the flam section and you want to do it the way he meant it, if you want to do it the most efficiently, I have to tell you that doing it this way, it's much easier to stay relaxed, and the more relaxed you become, the quicker your execution can be done. Forcing these flams out is not going to help you get better. All you're doing is practicing how to hit the wall. So you really need to practice this stuff slowly and learn the moves, because the moves don't take much tension or pressure. You just have to know when and where you want to go. So that's the purpose. The purpose is to show you how Stone worked his technique and how that technique is applied to the material that he wrote. This is not the only way you can do stick control. He even says so in his introductory material in the book. You can practice this stuff any way you want. I just think that if you want to get the most out of it for the amount of time you're spending, it seems to be very logical to me to do it the way the author meant it to be used. Because he's gotten some great results with his students. I can't think of any offhand right now. But anyway, that's it. That's stick control Flam section. George Stone level system flamming. You want to learn it that way? Go ahead. I did it. Worked for me. Happy with what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, you don't want to do anything that doesn't seem right to you. Doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense to you. Then you shouldn't do it. You have to believe in what you do. If you don't believe in it, then there's no point in doing it. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to thank everybody for coming to this Tech Talk Tuesday. And please, if there are topics, I say this every day when I do the Tech Talks. You know, if there's something you want to talk about, or if there's something, an exercise you want to see, or there's something that you want me to discuss or explain, I implore everybody to type in the chat room or call me by Skype if they have the guts to do that. Get on camera, and I rarely do I get a chance to do this kind of dissertation because I don't get the questions, and I wind up doing my routine, which is good for people to see the routine, to see what it's like, the kind of work that I'm doing to get what I got. You know, because that's all it is. You do this, you get that. You do that, you get this. Well, there's no genius involved here. It's just discipline. You know. Yeah, Mertzi, you're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. You know. But I'm hoping that these Tech Talk Tuesdays will be specifically defined for masterclass discussions. And so if there's if there's anything that you'd want to see me work with or talk about or cover, you can request it to me by email or by message, Facebook message, or in Sue, wherever I am, even in here, in the chat room, whatever. You could ask for a topic that you want me to touch, and I'll make it the topic of that Tuesday's Tech Talk, like today. This was done because of Christian Dover. He was the one who asked me to explain about this. So, and that's how this happened. So I'm hoping that people will respond to this and give me subjects that they're interested in, so that I can do stuff that can help people, that they want to know and they want to use, rather than just show you my routines. Okay. So until next Tuesday, I hope I get a good subject from somebody. Please tell me what you want. I'll do it. And like I always say, you have to practice. Okay, keep practicing. That's the way to get there. Just keep practicing. All right. It's the way I got here. That's all I did. I just practiced a lot. I got some good instruction. Got some good advice. Some really, really good advice that I followed very closely, and I just put my time in. And you can do the same thing. There's no mystery here. There's no secret. No shortcut. All right. Keep practicing. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.